What is going on YouTube? It's your boy Thespian coming at you with some breaking news. This just announced last night as a time of recording, but we're going to break down what seems to be the next big fighting game that's in the horizon. I am talking about a supposed Hunter x Hunter fighting game. There's a lot of speculation what it means. They are calling it a full-fledged fighting game. We're going to break down everything we know. That is sadly not a lot, but we're also going to talk about a lot of questions and concerns over this announcement, and sadly there is a good bit of concern, but we're gonna dive into everything and talk about it. So let's go ahead and dive in. Before we do, guys, give this vid a like, share, and subscribe. Help support the channel, and follow me on Twitch, where we're going to be covering this game as well as all other fighting games that are in the horizon at twitch.tv/thespianlive. So as I mentioned last night, Bushiroad Games and Aiding have announced a Hunter x Hunter fighting game. They are calling it a full-scale fighting game. If you know, Aiding recently had a fighting game come out. They are the developers of DNF Duel, and they were the developers of Marvel vs. Capcom 3 back in the day. They do have that reputation of being a pretty decent dev when it comes to fighting games. And as I mentioned, this was announced in Bushiroad's booth at Jump Festa 2024. It's a convention over in Japan, and that there will be another presentation that involves this game in January 6th, 2024. So in a month. That's everything we know. We have the image here, Hunter x Hunter, with the official announcement. The next time we're going to find out more about this game is not until January 6th. However, this already has raised a lot of questions and concerns from the community when this was posted online. The biggest thing is the developers. For those that don't know, like I said, Aiding currently is working on DNF Duel. That was their big project that came out last year. Wow, it's been a year. Oh my god. And for those wondering why this might be concerned, let's just say DNF Duel kind of really didn't live up to expectations, putting it nicely. DNF Duel was a pretty anticipated project as it was using the Dungeon Fighter IP, which is pretty popular, and like I said, a brand new fighting game entering the space. But because of either not having the biggest team or the biggest funding, or maybe some internal issues when it comes to their publisher, DNF Duel basically fell to the sidelines. We are barely getting DLC and updates to the game. Almost a full year after it came out, we were waiting for that Spectre trailer. It became legit a meme. It became the new Alex trailer for Street Fighter V. And if you're one to judge Steam charts, I mean, this game, I think at one point max players was like at 40. So not the best game to kind of highlight yourself as a developer. A lot of people do like it and there is some charm to it, but a lot of issues kind of stopped it from reaching its peak. So that's the biggest concern. When I saw this announcement on stream, I was very sad. I saw the Aiding logo. I saw Hunter x Hunter. And I'm like, oh my god. Out of everyone, you had to choose Aiding. I was very bummed out. And the other partner in this venture is Bushiroad Games. Now, from what I've seen, Bushiroad Games primarily does a lot of mobile games, which again raises the concern of what this game might be. If you look at DNF Duel, they also partnered with another publisher called Nexon Games, which you guessed it, they do a lot of mobile games as well. On paper, this might not excite too many people. I know I was bummed out. Hunter x Hunter is one of my favorite animes, so yeah, I was not super happy seeing these names associated with it. So that's the first concern. A lot of people aren't really big fans of Aiding at the moment. Like I said, they did make Marvel vs. Capcom 3, which is definitely a beloved game. It has its own problems back in the day, its own form of jank. They do have that reputation. I just think DNF kind of was a sour note, but it might not have been their own fault when it comes to that. Which leads into the other concern is when they mention full-scale fighting game, we don't really know what that means. Usually when it comes to developers, they kind of make everything sound like a fighting game. We don't know if this might be, you know, an actual traditional 2D fighter, or if it's going to be another arena fighter, since a lot of those are called fighting games by a good amount of the developers and the community. And since it is an anime IP, sadly, most anime games just tend to be generic arena fighters that, let's be honest, are not the best representations for those IPs. It's why a lot of people genuinely believe Dragon Ball FighterZ is probably the best anime game, period, just because of the attention to detail with that game and because it's not a generic 3D fighter. When it comes to full skill fighting game, as I mentioned, we don't really know what that means. I'm hoping it is a 2D fighter, because if it is another arena fighter, well, it definitely kills the hype. I know a lot of people will probably enjoy that, but for the majority of people, especially fighting game fans, this is just going to be another, oh, okay, moving on moment. And that's the problem with developers. They kind of, like said, just say anything's a fighting game. I mean, if you look at last year's Game Awards, Sifu was nominated for Best Fighting Game, which, don't get me wrong, very good game, and there is a lot of martial arts in that game, but to call it a fighting game was kind of insane, because it's literally with other games that are a fighting game genre. So a lot of people, I guess, they don't really know what a fighting game is supposed to be. So even though this is being targeted as a full skill fighting game, we sadly just don't know what that means until we see an actual gameplay reveal on January 6th. And that's pretty much the two main concerns that people have with this announcement. Developer doesn't have the best reputation at the moment, and the uncertainty of what type of fighting game this might be. However, there is some speculation, since if this is going to be a traditional 2v2 fighting game, people are saying, is this going to be a 1v1 or a team-based fighter? Since, like I mentioned, Aiding does have experience with a team-based fighter with Marvel vs. Capcom and a 1v1 with DNF. Personally, for me, I was thinking, okay, if it's a 3v3 fighter, who's on my squad? Is Hisoka? It's Kite. Who else? But if it is a 1v1 fighter, you know, it does beg the question what type of style this might be. Personally, for me, guys, I'm not the biggest fan of team-based fighters. I don't mind them, but I'd be lying to y'all if I said the hype didn't die a little bit with Project L being announced as a 2v2 fighter. For me personally, I would like this to be a 1v1, especially because, like I said, this is Hunter x Hunter. For those who don't know, there's a lot of cool characters in that show, in that manga, and depending on what time period they use of that IP, there might be even more. But for me personally, I would prefer it to be a 1v1, but because I like so many characters, like I said, I don't mind if it's a team-based fighting game. Y'all let me know what y'all would prefer, a 1v1 or a team-based fighter. Personally, I'm leaning towards 1v1. Now, for those that are still skeptical if this is going to be a traditional fighting game as opposed to a arena fighter, there was this rumor back in the day, I believe I made a video over it, where there was an undisclosed anime IP that was going to get its own fighting game from ArcSys, though. I think at the time it was rumored to be a My Hero Academia fighting game, and since then we haven't heard too much information regarding that. So the fact that there's now announcement for a Hunter x Hunter fighting game, it might have been that. However, ArcSys is not listed as a partner right now for this project. It's only 2 developers that we know, but don't be surprised if it's another collaboration project with ArcSys doing the publishing. That's the same deal that they have with DNF Duel current. And the final bit of speculation the community is saying about this game is with the image that they showed. As you can see here, it says Hunter x Hunter X bunch of kanji. It does translate to, you know, the announcement that they did. However, the way it's positioned, people are saying that there might be another IP involved in this. So a lot of people are saying this might be Hunter x Hunter cross Yu Yu Hakusho, because it is made by the same creator, Togashi. If it's that, then this might 100% be a team-based fighter. But because it's Yu Yu, because it's Hunter, I think this is the most goated cast in fighting game history if they do it right. I wouldn't be mad at that announcement if it is going to be a cross with Yu Yu Hakusho, because I love these. These are literally my number 1 and number 2 for anime. If that speculation is true, I'm 100% down. And that's pretty much all the information we know about this. This is, like I said, mostly speculation and kind of theory crafting what this game might be. As I mentioned, we gotta wait a whole other month to find out what this really is, to see if we should get hyped for it or if it's just gonna be another cash grab arena fighter. I really hope, even though I might not be the biggest fan of DNF Duel or aiding at the moment, I secretly do hope it is a traditional fighter, team-based or not. I hope it is, because guys, Hunter x Hunter is one of my favorite animes of all time. If you don't know anything about this show, about this manga, please do yourself a favor and start it. Trust me, you will not regret it. It's, I think, one of the greatest works of all time. Just seeing it as a fighting game potentially just hypes me to like no extent. If it is, guys, you already know we are going to be covering the hell out of this game on the channel. So I will see y'all on January 6th. Hopefully this is a fighter, and if so, this is going to be the one-stop shop for you to get everything Hunter x Hunter fighting game related news. With that being said, let me know what y'all thoughts are on this announcement. Are y'all excited? And if so, let me know what y'all expect to see on January 6th. Hopefully we see some cool. If not, then we continue with our regularly scheduled program of Grand Blue Versus. Until then, I will see y'all next one. Take care.